This video is sponsored by DistroKid. Accurate beats. Hello YouTube, it's Accurate again, back with another video from the studio, trying to talk a little bit about the future, disc, synths, drum machines, the past, and everything in between. So 2022 is coming to an end, and I've tried to look back to try to evaluate this past year, what's been good, what's been bad, and what needs to be changed and whatnot. And I've realized that my creativity and my creative output is really tightly connected to everything else that's going on in my life. I've kind of used music making as my way to deal with everything in life, but this is kind of the opposite of that. And I'm finding myself at a new all-time low for my motivation and creativity and willing to do pretty much anything. I've started to doubt myself in every single way possible, and that just needs to stop. We can't have that, and that needs to be put to an end right now. I'm not making any New Year's resolutions here because I kind of don't believe in that stuff, but I do need to make a few changes in order to set myself up for a better 2023, if that makes sense. You know, getting transferred to a new day job and the new schedule, having to do more evening shifts than before, wasn't great for my creativity or for my mental health either, for that matter. And getting this separate studio space wasn't everything I hoped for when it comes to my productivity either. I've basically just found myself spending more time away from my music making setup and more time just scrolling social media apps, and that's not really good, right? I know it might sound like I'm just complaining here, but that's not the entire picture I want to paint here. Identifying issues and problems like this feels kind of necessary in order to set myself up for a better 2023 and, you know, just becoming happier, stronger, better, more creative, more inspired, all that stuff. And I'm not talking about building a YouTube channel, I'm not talking about getting more sponsors or getting like a proper music career. I'm talking about feeling good, being happy and creating art and stuff out of that instead of anything else. In my case, that's making music, creating beats and videos, replying to comments, trying to help people out, trying to inspire other people to be creative themselves. That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do, right? I'm a music producer who happens to make videos on YouTube about all that stuff. About the gear, about the technology, about the techniques, about the ideas, about the creativity, and all that stuff. And my goal here is essentially to get back to using my YouTube channel as my own way of documenting my process in the studio, not the other way around, if that makes sense. And in order to get back to that mindset, I just need full access to my studio setup whenever I want to do something, more than having to go here to do something, because that becomes kind of a chore and it becomes less fun, and I need to have fun to create, and I need to create to have fun, kinda. I've already mentioned that me and my family are taking over my childhood home and we're moving into that house. I'm gonna set up a new home studio in the basement and I'm gonna leave this place, and that's gonna be really cool, and hopefully that's gonna make me or enable me to get back to a proper creative lifestyle, making music and beats whenever I want to, getting back to doing live streams and collaborations and all that cool stuff that I want to do for myself and also for this channel. And this is not happening just yet, by the way, but the room that I'm planning to set up as a home studio is pretty much all cleared out at this point. So let's go to the house and have a look at the new place and see whatever I have to work with for 2023. Let's go. Yeah, this is what it is. And as I'm filming down here for the first time ever, I am realizing how crazy of an idea this kind of seems to be. I'm leaving a proper studio space for this. It's tiny, it's dirty, it's all messed up right now with things left and right, and this is actually the ceiling up here. And I'm not that tall of a guy, so we're talking about a low ceiling for sure. But realistically, this is the basement of my new house. The walls are what they are, and I guess I'm gonna cover these walls in drywall and put some paint on them and fix this one too, because it's nasty. But you know, a little bit of paint and something else will kind of make this work, I think. And I need to do something with the acoustic treatment down here for sure, because the low ceiling and this tiny of a space isn't optimal. It's not great, but it's mine, and I'm gonna be able to go here whenever I want to, whenever I need to, whenever I feel like making something creatively. And compared to my current studio setup, this is gonna be way worse, but I think I'm gonna like it more, in some kind of strange way. And just for reference, this is my current studio setup right now, the big one, and this is my old home studio where I've made a lot of beats and videos, and this is my future home studio in the basement of the new house. And this lies a little bit because the space down here isn't totally usable, but you know, this is kind of what it's gonna be. And I'm not sure about anything yet, but I think I'm gonna set up my main desk behind me, like a standing desk for me to work with videos and everything, and then have like tables or shelves or whatever on these two walls with gear. Maybe that's not the best solution now when I think about it. Maybe I should go for something. Obviously, I don't know much at all, but I think it's gonna be cool, right? Maybe something like this would also be something. I need to take these lights out, by the way, and install some proper lighting for videos and stuff. But yeah, like this, it feels kind of spacious. Desk, synths, drum machines, and the turntable with the records and stuff. Maybe that could go over here in the corner somehow. And if the camera's over there, where I said I'm gonna put the desk, using this space over here, that's pretty much nothing, could also become something. And of course, I'm also gonna try to set up some camera mounts in the ceiling, like not exactly like this, but somehow for me to get like the overhead shots for whenever I work on an MPC or a synth or something like that. At least that's what I think right now, or what I'm hoping for. I also thought about setting up some sort of fabric wall or whisper wall behind me, but I think I'm gonna benefit more from having an actual wall there to mount stuff like acoustic panels and shelves and stuff like that, because it's, again, kind of a tiny space. And one thing I really learned from setting up my current studio space is that I need to spend some time in the actual room to get to know everything and kind of understand how to best utilize the space itself. I kind of forced myself to set everything up as quickly as possible and get to work in the last studio, and that's definitely not going to be the case here. So taking the time to understand how things work and what would be best for me in the long run is exactly what I plan to do in here. Honestly, the wall behind me as well as the wall over there has some sort of vibe to it. It feels like a basement, and it feels like my dad's house, which it is at the moment. But maybe I should just paint these walls with a thin layer of white paint to still have it shine through and leave the structure or the texture or whatever. Maybe not. I don't know. There are definitely a lot of I don't knows in this video, as well as crappy audio, because it sounds like this. A part of me thinks this is flat out stupid. And a part of me feels like this is the next obvious step to take, and something that's going to be really cool and awesome and great. And I'm a little bit torn and a little bit scared at the moment, because I've seen a lot of like studio tours on YouTube lately, and people just seems to go crazy with their setups. And sure, I might have some sort of part in that myself, because my previous studio was kind of nice, and my home studio before that too. And this space is actually a little bit bigger than my previous home studio, so who knows? Even though this probably seems crazy, I think this room has potential. And you know, it's not about the looks, it's not about how fancy it is, it's all about the vibe and the feeling, and in my case, just how accessible the studio setup is. And this will be super accessible because, again, this is the basement. On the first floor we have like the living room and the kitchen, and another floor on top of that is where we have our bedrooms and stuff. So this is my future home. Let's get back to the current studio now to just finish this video off and talk a little bit about what's next, besides from all this. You know, I never planned for this video to become this type of vlog, but I kind of need to talk about these things and put words on it and share it like this, so that's what I'm doing. And getting back to a way to being able to create stuff effortlessly, I guess, sounds like a dream right now. And maybe this new direction in life with the new house and the new studio setup could be exactly what I need. Who knows? And I also really want to mention that one of my plans for next year is to host some sort of beat making challenges or exercises on the channel and provide you guys with samples that I've made myself for you to flip and make beats out of. Then I can listen back to them and share them on the channel and talk about them and all that stuff, because I know I have a lot of talented beat makers and producers watching this channel. So that's a cool and nice way to share the love. Because every time I've done something similar to that before and just played beats that you guys have sent me, I'm getting in a lot of copyright claiming issues with YouTube, since you're using samples from wherever, and this could be a good way to get around that, you know? And I'm also gonna try to release a lot more of my own music next year, and that's where this week's sponsor, DistroKid, comes into play. DistroKid is an affordable and easy-to-use distribution service that helps you to release your own music on streaming services and platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and many others. The uploading process is nice and simple, and if you're releasing music together with someone else, you're also able to set up revenue splits to make sure that everyone involved in the project gets their cut of the royalties. The cheapest plan is just $20 a year and allows you to upload an unlimited number of tracks and lyrics, and you're also getting a verified checkmark on Spotify, so that's nice. DistroKid has been a long-time sponsor of this channel and what I do, and if you are a musician yourself and you release music and you want people to be able to find it, I highly recommend checking out DistroKid for that. I have links down below that gives you an additional discount, and it also supports this channel, so that's always cool. And as always, thanks a lot to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. Now let's end this video off on a high note, and let me just mention some of my highlights of 2022, even though the year was a little bit so-so, I guess. First of all, I was invited to this live event in Gothenburg not too long ago to play some beats on this live event in front of an actual audience. The entire thing was hosted by Cut It Up and Spike Brewery, super cool. And the Swedish Beatboxing Championship went down. A few of my friends did some scratch showcases. And the headliner for the night was the legendary D-Styles. It kind of reminded me that I want to do more of that in the future too. That's just definitely one of the highlights. And another one is actually the MPC Key 61 in my book, because the Key 61 is an MPC, sure, but it also has a few more tricks up its sleeve and kind of a different type of workflow and a vibe to it. And it got to me just when I needed that little bit of extra inspiration the most, so definitely one of my highlights too. And I also got to talk about the MPC Key 61 in my friend Bo Beats' video called Best Synths and Music Production Gear 2022. That was also a lot of fun. Hello Bo Beats, or Bussebus as we say here in Sweden. And also, of course, the letter from my doctor saying that my latest brain scan looked just fine. Really awesome, super cool, and that's like the main highlight of 2022, for sure. And yeah, this is my last video of 2022. Gonna make a few more videos in the studio before we actually move to the house, but you know, I have a lot of work to do there too, so it could take a while. But I'm still really looking forward to that. And honestly, thanks a lot for like supporting what I do and watching my videos and being parts of the comments and everything like that. Really means a lot, more than you might think, and it's been a weird type of year for me with the job and all that stuff and things just getting to me in a way that I shouldn't allow it to, but you know, I'm only human, and yeah, just thanks a lot, and hopefully you're more inspired to make music and stuff than I am right now. Keep making beats, keep having fun, keep watching this channel, because that's the most important thing in the world. I don't know, let's just work together for a better 2023, and yeah, Happy New Year's, ha det gött!